Okay. All right, so we'll call together this joint meeting between the Town Permanent Building Committee, the library trustees, and is the library working group here as well? Or is
Yes,
it just
some of it. Yeah.
just the joint board and the library working group? As well, a reminder that this meeting is being recorded. Anything that's said during the meeting or entered into the chat will become a matter of the public record. So that done, Buffy, do you want to do the roll call?
Yep, here's the roll call. Dirk's here, Fleckner not here, Roach
Here.
Secor,
Here.
Siegel
Here.
Teal
Here.
Cook
Here.
Hazelton
Here.
Karpinski
Here.
Patton and Roberts not here, Wimberg
Here.
Zegowitz,
Here.
and the additional Berlinski not here, I don't think, but Perkins,
Here.
Liedberg,
Here.
Rainville,
Here.
Lass,
Here.
Goodwin,
Here.
McGrory,
Here.
and I believe none of the FAA people.
Correct.
Okay.
Good. First item of business is approval of minutes.
So we're deferring
That's-
all the minutes to the April 7th meeting so that we
Okay.
can catch up on reports and contracts.
All right. Why don't we start with the OPM report then?
Well, good evening, everyone. I am very happy to share that we opened our general contractor bids, the general construction bids. We received 6 bids for the project, and 5 of those bids were under our project budget. The apparent low bidder is Hutter Construction Corporation. They are located in New Ipswich, New Hampshire. They are DCAM certified for general building construction and also masonry. They have a single project limit of $31.6 million. And they also have an average rating of 94 for DCAM. We performed all of the statutory review for all of the required elements of their bid. Everything was complete. And then while we pre-qualified them in the earlier part of this process, we did perform additional review of their references. They have worked on a number of projects, but some that were more notable that we wanted to share is that they've worked on a small library renovation and addition in Marlborough, New Hampshire, the Frost Free Library. We spoke with their OPM and the architect for that project. They recently worked on the North Andover Middle School project, which is an addition and renovation. We've spoken with the OPM and the architect for that project. They also worked on the Upton Community Center, which we spoke with the architect for that project, and the Town of Acton Fire Station. And we spoke with the town manager for that. They've worked on many other projects within New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, and Massachusetts, but we were highlighting a few of their public Massachusetts projects. Their reference commentary is that they are, what we heard again and again was that they're very honest and sincere. They were professional, they have a high degree of integrity, and they had quality work. And that when the schedule slipped in projects, that they worked to come up with a plan to address it and get it back on schedule. The number of their contract price was $20,471,634. And that represents a number of about $3.1 million below our project estimated budget for construction. And so at this time, we're very happy with that response. We have been talking with them about the process and their approach. We would recommend that this group accept the bid of Hutter Construction and approve moving forward with the award of contract and then subsequently the notice to proceed for the bid amount of $20,471,634. And additionally, we had prepared some deduct alternates that they submitted on, and we have those values. But at this time, we would not recommend acceptance of them. And I'd just like to remind everyone, if we do not accept them now, we do miss that window, but as we are under the project budget, we don't feel it would be necessary to accept that. So I'd love to open it up to questions.
It's more of a comment. This is a big project for them then.
They have done a variety of projects. So they have that North Andover Middle School project is very similar in size. It was about $19 million and a 25,000 square foot addition. So that was fairly similar. The library project that they worked on was significantly smaller in size and of dollar value. Some of the other public projects that they've worked on have ranged from about five to $20 million for Massachusetts public projects, but they have a number of projects up to, from what I read, the largest project that they have worked on has been about $80 million, and it was for Samford, Maine, a public school project there. Thomas?
The Acton Fire Station project, how big was that?
That was $7.6 million.
When was that?
If you give me a moment,
I believe they started in 2019.
Okay, thank you.
But it did have both solar and geothermal, which is interesting since we will have a geothermal well.
Oh, we are doing geothermal.
The one well that was dug will provide climate control for the Mary Atwood Hall. So it won't be a lost drilling.
Okay.
Jim has a question.
Question, that fire station, was that the one right off of 27, down near, Narrow Park? Is it a new construction?
I would have to have somebody else comment. I have not
okay.
been to that fire station.
Okay,
Does anyone?
know if that was new construction or not. 7.5 seems pretty small for that facility. Look, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful building over there.
I'm gonna try to get, it's the North Acton Fire Station number 4.
Okay, you can look that up. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. And we have a motion to somebody want to help me frame the motion here?
I think to recommend Hutter Construction for the general contractor as the low bidder in the amount of $20,471,634 with no deduct alternates.
I'll second that.
Who made the first, though? Who made the motion? Ellen was speaking and she can't make a
Right.
motion.
No, I thought he said that he had a motion. I guess.
No, no.
Sorry.
I will
Sorry.
make that motion that Ellen just said.
Okay,
Thank you, Nancy.
I'll second it.
okay, thank you.
Sorry, Glenn.
No worries.
Sorry. Okay, here's our voting then. Dirk's aye, Fleckner not here, Roach,
Aye.
Secor,
Aye.
Siegel,
Aye.
Teal,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Hazelton,
Aye.
Karpinski,
Aye.
Haddon and Roberts not here, Wimberg,
Aye.
Zegowitz.
Aye.
All right, let me count. 10-0-0.
On to the library director's report.
Yeah, let me just see if Jennifer has anything else she wants to
Oh, I'm
add.
sorry. Go ahead, Jennifer.
I think the major other piece going on right now is about the professional moving that's going on. So I think Ellen is going to speak about that, but I think just in general, as a team, we were very pleased with these results, and also just seeing how much how many bidders we got, and I think this is a really exciting step, and appreciate all of your help in getting here. Thank you.
So Jennifer, what was the spread total from high to low bid?
The lowest bid was Hutter, and I'm going to use some round numbers now, at about 20.5 million. The next lowest bidder was Colantonio, and they came in at 21.5 million. The third bidder was G&R Construction, who came in at 22.1. J&J Contractors came in fourth at 22.3. M. O'Connor came in at 23.3. And Boston Building and Bridge Company came in at 23.8. And so the spread was about $3 million across the board, with Hutter being just like 3.1 under our budget, and Boston Bridge being 235,000 over our budget.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Anecdotally, we at CHA, whenever any other project managers are opening up bids, we openly talk about where the numbers are standing, and this does fall in line with how we've been seeing bids very recently in the last 2 months or so, and there have been really positive news for these communities.
Very positive news for us.
Yes.
Right, that's great. That's fantastic.
It
And I'll
is.
just note that the Northborough Fire Station bids were due the day after ours. I know it's a different project, but also public bidding. Those came in 6.5 million under budget. The low bidder was $26.9 million. So not just Westford seeing these low bids come in, Northborough the very next day did as well.
Nice to hear they're getting some real competitive numbers again instead of just the runaway stuff that's been happening for a while. That's fantastic. It's just great.
The low bidder for that that bid did was pre-qualified for us. They ended up not bidding on our project, and they also they asked us to delay our bid because of that bid opening, but we chose not to because of our timeline that we have very carefully built with this meeting and also other approvals that need to happen. But it's I think it's good news in both of these communities.
Terrific. All right, Ellen.
So the moving bid went out with about 7 different exhibits, meaning different components. So we have a shelf and collection move. We have fine arts and historical unique documents and the subscription library of 1797 to be moved. We have a Willard clock that Delaney Clockmakers of West Townsend, who you might have seen on Antiques Roadshow, will be coming to dismantle. We have the furnishings. We have all of the technology to be moved, a couple of copiers. In the same line, we've been sending out weekly items to town departments, school principals, and school librarians to see if they would like some of our holdings for free. Other things we've put on publicsurplus.com so that the town will get some small revenue for that. So as of today, the movers, Wakefield Moving, started moving and dismantling 3 different sections of collections. The staff did an incredible job today. We were open to the public until 4 p.m. on Saturday. You know, by the end of today, almost every office was packed up. A number of our displays and other items were set aside for the site at 515 Groton Road. I've talked with IT and we have a vote coming up on this, but you know, by Wednesday or Thursday, IT will be coming to disconnect all of our technology so that can be packed up and moved. And, you know, we're holding on to the 3 administrative offices for as long as possible so we can continue to do bills and payroll and all of the financial things that we have to do. So I think by the end of the week, most of the library will be over at 515 Groton Road. We may have our technology up, maybe not. We probably won't have our phones up quite yet. We have our hardware in place for our panic alarms. We have our leased photocopier being moved by the mover. So all of that is underway. And we'll be tired next week. So next week, you know, we'll be unpacking everything that we packed up this week and getting things in order. So we expected 2 weeks for moving and a 3rd week where we would be training in our new location, 515 Groton Road. All of the collections will be in the basement. We'll have to get them all labeled and get signage and train everyone where everything is. And we'll have to put our emergency signs and our, you know, here you are, leave this place safely signs. There's still a few things to be done. One more safety occupancy testing to be done next week. And then we hope to be opening to the public Tuesday, the 22nd, the day after Patriots Day. But that all depends on the final safety approval and the occupancy permit of our town safety officer and our building commissioner. So those are all underway and we're, you know, we're in a good place there. So maybe I can just segue into the proposal that you need to void so that we will have technology in the new site. So all along, going back several years, we were looking at this building because of its proximity to WestfordCAT, our cable company, and the fact that Town Fiber went to that building. When you approved the waveguide proposal in January, we still thought Town Fiber would be extended to this temporary site, 515 Groton Road. Waveguide was purchased by another company. IT says they've been a wonderful company to work with. And then it fell out that the utility poles that would carry fiber were overloaded and would not be able to do that. So even a week and a half ago, IT thought we could just have a split Comcast line and tie into the town server. But then they were given another opinion that there was not enough, I'm going to call it bandwidth. I'm sure there's another term for it. There was not enough capacity on that line. So late this week, assuming you approve proposal number 2 and void proposal number 1, I knew, and I must look at my notes now because IT told me what this was. Okay, so you will be approving a point-to-point VPN tunnel. And for all of us who don't know what that means, it means a virtual private network. So the Comcast line that we've already had put in, that's our free line because of the town contract with Comcast, will tie into the town server. However, the town VPN line will also have to be upgraded. So what will happen at the end of this week is the town VPN line will be upgraded And then ours will come on board early next week. And at that point, we'll be able to have phone as well as internet and tie our security panic lanyards into the Comcast line as well. So what I'm asking you to do in red here is void or disapprove what you approved in January and instead approve an alternative VPN tunnel at a lower cost of $13,625. And you could make it one vote or two votes, depending. And then I'll be in touch with Kristen to be sure that the records, because there is a signed proposal for this, get voided or corrected.
Unless anyone objects, I think we could vote on them together. But before we do, does anyone have questions?
I have a question, please.
Chris, and I-
Go ahead, Jim.
Is this cost 13,625, is that just for the library portion, or is that including the town's infrastructure upgrade?
That's just the library portion. So the grant funding will pay just for the library portion, and IT will pay for their upgrade portion. And I believe our budgeted utility amount was $20,000. So we do have the capacity in the budget.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Tom?
yeah, somewhere in here, the it looked like the bandwidth was going to be very low, or at least comparatively low. Yeah, it's a 300 megabyte circuit. So I assume IT has approved that this is enough bandwidth.
Yes, they're upgrading both their bandwidth and our bandwidth. You're absolutely right. About 10 days ago, we thought that the current, I honestly don't know if it's a server, so please don't quote me. We thought that what the town has in place for a VPN tunnel would be adequate for all of our traffic. And they got a second opinion and determined that was not the case. So this will be an upgrade for IT, and it will be a replacement alternative to town fiber that will allow us to go to the town server, and also it will allow our phone lines, which are also, on a local port, to operate as well.
Yeah, the VPN will, I know VPNs I know happen to know what they are, and they will allow the two ends to talk to each other as if they were local. But the hardware infrastructure, the line is coming from Comcast to the building.
I understand this is a point-to-point, so Comcast will give us our internet, and this will be a point-to-point VPN tunnel that will go directly from our server room at 515 Groton to IT.
Yeah, actually, I'm
You
probably
may know
asking.
more about it than I do, Tom.
Yeah, no, and actually, my questions are probably not germane to the proposal, because actually, I'm probably going to just
They may
drop it.
be germane, but I won't be able to help you with any.
That's why I'm saying it. You're not going to know the answers.
No, I had to write down word for word what Kevin told me. So
I figured, and I would have to ask questions directly to them. And if I ask the questions, it'll delay you getting your phones up. So therefore, I'm just going to table my questions.
And Ellen, you did
I-
a wonderful job.
I will
Thanks,
say
Tom.
that in the past, VPNing from a laptop to the town server is sluggish and frustrating. And we can remote into our individual computers on our desktops at work, That's not frustrating and that's not too slow, but I think certainly this will be an improvement for everyone, who's having to remote in that way.
I,
I'll quit talking because I know no more about it.
I'm not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to answer my questions. I'd have to ask the IT department, and I'm just going to have to trust them here.
Do we have enough knowledge to move forward with the vote?
I think so.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Ellen. So we're not really approving a proposal that's in the packet, or are we approving a proposal that's in the packet?
Yes, there
Yeah.
is a proposal in the packet for labor and a proposal for hardware. So you are approving that total cost of $13,625, and you are voiding an earlier approved proposal of $14,930 and 41 cents.
The proposal is attached to the latest packet.
Yes, so
I see it. I just wasn't sure if that's what we were,
yes,
if we were
Yes.
approving, or if
parts.
that's IT approves it and we're simply,
no, you're approving
okay,
it for to be signed by Kristen so that we can then go ahead and get the work immediately scheduled.
So if we sign this, they can deliver this week.
They say they can start working on the IT upgrade and hours by the end of this week. We may not be fully operational till early next week. So we've shared all of our cell phone numbers. We may have internet, we may have to VPN a different way, and we may be calling each other all on our cell phones. We circulated our cell phone directory so that we can continue to talk with each other.
I assume page 7 is the hardware in the proposal.
Yeah, I think, here we go. So the first one I believe is labor. I'm sorry, bear with me. So
Yeah.
this is the labor schedule.
Right.
And as we look at the second proposal, we get all the way down to the end. We have the hardware schedule.
That's the hardware. Okay.
but the money's ultimately coming out of IT's budget?
No,
No, it's from
No.
us.
This
No.
is from us, okay.
this replaces a proposal that was coming out of our budget, which
Right.
will void in this vote. And
Okay.
IT will pay for their portion, and the library project funding will pay for its portion.
Okay.
This is one of our moving costs.
Okay,
So Glenn, if you want one motion to approve both of those, I will make that motion.
so to void one and approve the other? Nancy?
Yes.
Okay,
I will second that motion.
was that your full motion, Nancy?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So to void the waveguide proposal and to approve the alternate. All right. So it's Nancy and Chris, I think?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Now it's Buffy.
Yes, I wrote down Chris. Okay.
okay.
Voting is this way. Dirks, aye. Fleckner, not here. Roach,
Aye.
Secor,
Hi,
Siegel,
Aye.
Teal,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Hazelton,
Aye.
Karpinski,
Aye.
Hadden and Roberts not here. Wimberg,
Aye.
Zigowitz,
All right.
10-0-0 again.
we don't have any additional services or costs to approve.
No,
All right, on to old business, the groundbreaking committee volunteers.
So I thought I would try to send this group for next week's meeting, a list of the invites that we should be including for groundbreaking. And maybe once we see that list, the Permanent Town Building Committee, who's maybe participated and attended more of these, can just let me know if we need to expand that listing.
Okay.
Will you include Kristen on that list?
Yeah.
I mean, the distribution list, because she may have experience too with who to invite.
Thought you would check in to see if we were inviting her.
Yeah, I'd be
No, I'm
happy
sure
to
we
look.
are.
I'd be happy to look at the list.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't need committee volunteers today. We're
I
gonna
don't think
first.
so. The
Okay.
Friends would potentially like to provide refreshments next door at the church. I don't know if that's ever done. I don't know if this is just a hard hat and a shovel moment, or if there is ever a reception afterwards.
Yeah, there can be. If the weather's nice, it could be outside or it could be indoors. If you want to just plan for indoors, because our weather is variable, that works too.
Yeah, we had a great the groundbreaking in Acton for the rail trail. They had a really nice outdoor, feast, I guess you call it, hors d'oeuvre kind of thing.
Well,
Okay.
the Friends meet this Thursday night, so I'll talk with them and we'll also talk with First Parish. You know, we won't really have anything inside the building by the time we have the groundbreaking. And so,
Can't get in the building, right?
yeah, so
Right.
and I don't even know if we'll have our picnic tables. We are giving those to other town departments. So we'll check to see if we can have space in the church in order to just set up a table with, you know, a reception punch and goodies.
When is the targeted groundbreaking?
I don't know. It really depends on when we have everything to the general contractor and a notice to proceed date.
Okay.
So I maybe, I don't know, Jennifer, what, maybe the 3rd or 4th week of April?
Yes, I think that would probably be the timing we're thinking of.
Okay.
Um,
The 3rd week of April, you know, we'll be opening for the first time in a new site, and it's also school vacation week. So I don't think that's an optimal week to have it. I think the last week of April makes more sense, but I could be talked out of that. That's just my sense.
Okay. Well, we can pencil in the last week of April and we'll know more as we get closer.
Okay.
All right. For new business, the first item is to set the change order cost threshold. And do we have a recommendation on what that should be?
I think I was going to speak to this, Ellen. I don't want to jump in front of
Please.
you. So as we move into this next phase, we will have a series of procedures that we as a team want to be sure where everyone here at the table is going to be on board for the process we're following. So to that end, we are in the process at CHA of crafting some flow charts so that everyone on the joint committee will be aware of the process we follow. One of those will be change orders. And this will be if we have unanticipated site conditions is a likely reason for change orders, or if changes need to be made if they're requested by the town or any other reason. When this process happens, the town needs to approve these, and we are suggesting that there could be a value, a threshold value under which if the change orders under that threshold that we do not need to wait until the next joint committee meeting to get approval. However, if things are above that threshold, we would need to pause and bring it to this committee. So that threshold is important because time is of the essence during construction. And so what we are suggesting, and I've talked with many different communities and colleagues of mine who are working with many different communities, and we are suggesting a threshold of $25,000. And so in that process, the next item on the agenda is about a member of this committee who would be part of our weekly construction meetings. That person would be involved in that process underneath the threshold when we choose what that should be. But under that threshold, we would be reporting those to the joint committee, but we would not need to get approval to continue the process of the construction process and hold up the schedule.
Scott, wasn't it 10,000 on the fire station? That under 10, the clerk could approve it, our clerk, and then above that had to come back?
Yeah, I don't remember that, to be honest.
Well,
Could
I
be.
think it wasn't 25.
And I would think you would want to set this limit tighter just to make it
I know.
difficult to go over.
We are open. I have talked to colleagues of mine who have worked in so many different communities in Massachusetts, and we see numbers. $10,000 is a common number. We see them up to about $30,000. That's sort of the framework that we see. And so if, as a committee, we feel it should be $10,000, I think that could be acceptable. It's just important that I believe it's important that we do have a threshold so that we can make the contractor aware of that and understand its impact to the process.
And we could change that in the future if we find.
If we needed to.
If we set the limit low, we find it's just too burdensome, correct?
Yes, because we did it Cameron. Cameron was like $5,000 and we did change that. I
Okay.
think we did for Rodenbush too, but I think 10 was where we ended up with the fire station.
Great. Thank you. Sorry, Buffy, go ahead.
I guess I'm thinking that this is a project that's down the road compared to those other projects. I'm not saying they were cheap, but I would not want to go with 10,000.
Why not?
It seems too low,
Oh,
in other words.
How much was the
25,
fire station project?
12.8, I think was the,
Okay, so it's $10,000 against a 12.8 budget, so.
So there's sort of an example of what I'm saying. This is a much larger project, and down the road, it's more expensive.
it can get out of hand quickly though, at 25,000.
I'm saying that, but I'm saying I guess I would recommend a minimum 15.
What was the buffer or the buffer on the fire station project versus the buffer on this project?
The contingency,
The contingency, thank you.
I don't remember. It's 6 or 7 years now.
It was tight though.
Yeah, it was.
I think with the climate in the town, we want to keep our pencils sharp on this library project.
Yeah.
My suggestion would be on the lower level for the threshold.
I agree with Chris on this. Chris, would you be okay with 15?
20, 25 seems too much. 15 seems highish. 10 seemed to be good. So somewhere between 10 or 15, I'm fine with either.
12.5.
12.5, exactly.
I defer to others with more experience, but if it were my choice, I would say 10. Only because our OPM mentioned that's seen in the real world.
Not true to my usual beliefs. I'd say the 15 is probably a pretty decent number on this thing. Stuff's gonna move really fast when they start tearing this building apart. You're gonna find there's gonna be I can't imagine we're not gonna find huge latent conditions that are gonna need to be dealt with quickly in order to keep the progress moving. So I think if my vote would just be for 15, I think is a good number.
Well, I guess what's the danger of setting it too low? Is there one?
There
We
is a
should
danger
slow it down.
of the timing, yes. Because we're setting this process, but most importantly, they have a schedule that they need to keep. And so if we move things to have to come in front of you for all of those items, we would start to move work out of sequence.
And I guess the question is also how responsive can this larger group be to doing the voting? So there's one is the threshold, two is the the responsiveness
Yeah.
of how frequently we have meetings so that we can actually vote on anything that does cross the threshold. I think that second factor would probably have a bigger impact to the schedule than the former.
It seems
Yeah,
like
we
can be pretty
we
rapid.
didn't hold anybody up. I mean, we met if on the rare occasion we needed to vote something in a hurry above that threshold, we met quickly with the fire station. Just my fear, especially given the financial crisis in the town, and that's not a good word. I don't mean crisis, that we look like we're not looking. And if Jimmy, you're saying there could be a lot of things come up. That's a lot of money quickly spent that we haven't looked at.
Right.
It-
I guarantee when they tear the back of the
Cheap,
building.
see,
out,
I'm
there's gonna be
cheap.
All sorts of stuff that's.
Yeah, so I'd say not just threshold, but we should set for lack of a better term, a service level agreement of how responsive this committee is going to be to acting on anything. I think that responsiveness is going to impact the schedule in a positive way more than the threshold.
Well, what's the open meeting implications of how quick we could do it, even with if everybody wanted to do it tonight, you'd still have to publish the meeting, correct?
3 days, yeah.
3 days?
72 hours.
48, it's 48 hours.
Okay,
You have to
48
post
hours.
48 hours in advance, business days.
Thank you.
So if we were to post on Monday at 4 p.m., you could meet on a Wednesday at 4 p.m.
I'm sorry, Carolyn, go ahead.
Carol?
Okay, I wanted to make sure I was understanding this correctly. So this limit, whether it's 10 or 15 or 25,000, whatever the dollar amount is that we approve, this is for lack of a better term, like for unexpected things that come up during construction so that they are able to go ahead and proceed with the work and not have approval first. Am I understanding this correctly?
I would say it's not approval from this committee. There is a smaller group, and so we're going to talk immediately after this topic on the next topic of attendance from people from this committee in the weekly meetings. And so whenever a change comes up, there are other procedures in place. The contractor has to justify it. We do a process called encumbering of, checking all of the costs and making sure that they're hitting, they're realistic and that they're valid costs. And then we make a recommendation. So it's not that anything is just simply accepted. There is that procedure will happen regardless of the threshold. We will do that procedure for every change order. Even if it's a credit change order, we have to perform that procedure. So we will do that. There will be parties that will be participating in them underneath the threshold and above the threshold. But at this point, if there is a value over whatever number we set as a threshold, we have to wait and either wait for a scheduled meeting or call a meeting for the approval to the contractor to proceed.
So is it, if it's below the threshold, would the weekly construction meeting
Yes.
who would approve below the threshold?
The weekly construction.
Weekly construction meeting.
Yeah.
And that's not subject to open records, or is that scheduled every week?
Go ahead.
We have that meeting every week. It will happen
Okay.
every week, and there will
So
be.
we're talking about you're talking about a weekly threshold anyway.
But it's not a public, this is not a publicly posted meeting. The construction meetings are not publicly posted meetings. They're not
Okay,
open to
thank
the
you.
public.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. That's the more, so it could happen as quickly as it needed to be. Thank you.
And if the benchmark were to be the fire station, you know, two things. One is it's 10 years ago, so inflation means 10 then, it's probably 15 now. And secondly, this is renovation, not new, which means you're welcome to find something a little more expensive than you are with new. So, you know, kind of says 15 might be the right number as opposed to 10.
I'm good with 15.
Yeah. And especially since we can change the threshold if we
Right.
need to. And I assume we will be reviewing all the changes anyway at this meeting.
Yes,
Uh,
that will be
so-
part of our reporting to you.
Kristen, do you want to weigh in on the amount before we take it to a vote?
I think 15,000 is sufficient. I think if it was an item that is controversial or we have questions, that it'll be pertinent to have a check-in with the chairs of the Permanent Town Building Committee and the Board of Library Trustees. So we could also set that as, you know, if there is a controversial item that the construction group does not feel comfortable with, instead of going to a meeting, we could check in with the chairs as well. So as Jennifer noted, we can have that flow chart of a certain dollar amount means X, another dollar amount means Y, and then there could be other items off of that for additional checks and balances. But I'm comfortable with 15,000.
I'm cool with that too.
Yep, that sounds good.
I agree.
Jim, do you want
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry,
you-
just to be very clear about this, is this a per occurrence or is this a per week cap?
This is a per occurrence.
Per occurrence.
So
Okay,
if an item goes over by 15,000 or less, excuse me, if it's less than 15,000, it would be the construction group with the review by the chairs. If it's over 15,000, it would go to this group, but per occurrence, not per week.
yeah, okay, so it's on a specific line items, right? We're talking about stuff that can be easily identified in the recs that we can point to, that, you know, that the budget's gonna pop on those, excuse me, on those particular items. Okay, thank you.
if there's no further discussion, can we have a motion to have the change order cost threshold be set at 15,000 per occurrence?
So moved.
I'll
Second.
second. Yep,
And here's the voting. Dirks, aye. Fleckner, not here. Roach,
Aye.
Secor,
Aye.
Siegel,
Aye.
Teal,
Aye.
Cook,
aye.
Hazelton,
Aye.
Karpinski,
Aye.
Patton and Roberts, not here. Wimberg,
Aye.
Segowitz, passed 10-0-0.
Now to choosing a representative or representatives for the weekly construction meeting.
So
Oh.
that is a request that we're making so that somebody from the this committee would be attending our weekly OAC meeting for this. And it is it is a tremendous amount of work. I don't want to dismiss that, because there is a participation every week, and that this meeting would typically be an hour of that time. So there is an obligation, it's an important obligation, but we would also like you to consider if there may be somebody available as a backup, because having the coverage and somebody who remains very intimately knowledgeable about the construction process would also be participating in these issues of change orders, or you know, if there is schedule interruptions or any other contractual item, we would be asking for that member's participation in those discussions.
And this is an in-person meeting, correct?
it will be an in-person meeting. We're going
Okay.
to have a construction trailer. However, we have requested that the setup allows for virtual attendance.
Chris?
I'm happy to volunteer. If the meeting goes over 1 hour, I request refreshments to be served.
I'll bring you coffee, Chris.
I could do backup.
Yeah, okay.
For my part, it makes sense, I think, to have, if it's a representative, to have it be a representative from the Permanent Town Building Committee, who knows construction.
Do we need a member from both boards? I thought that was. Do we need a member from the Board of Trustees and the Permanent Town Building Committee? I thought we did.
I know we had talked about that, but it seemed like we were
Yeah.
talking about one representative tonight. So that was my question, is it one or two?
Typically, it's one.
Are you talking one from both
Just
of
one,
both
just one.
committees?
Just one that comes back and reports to everybody.
All right. Because Debbie and I had talked together about serving together as representatives as from the trustees only.
That would be good.
However, we feel that somebody should be on from the planning board like Chris.
From the Permanent Town Building
Permanent
Committee.
Town Building Committee.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
We knew what she meant.
Yeah.
Again, for my part, if it's one person, I think that the person needs to be from the Permanent Town Building Committee.
Yeah.
If it's two, if it's one from each, that's fine too.
Who sets it if it's one or two?
I don't think there needs to be an explicit limit. I think the OAC meeting typically has a number of attendees. It's usually not a small meeting. There is a running agenda that happens every single week. Many of you have participated in these meetings, so you're aware, but we don't have a head count maximum for this meeting. If the committees feel that having a representative from each one of the two committees.
I think that would be best.
Actually, a question.
Scott?
So Chris,
Scott, go ahead.
do we want anybody from the town side? You or Jeff or somebody that is from staff?
So we've already discussed that Jeff Goodwin would be attending,
Okay.
and Ellen will likely attend as her schedule allows. I may attend here and there if it's necessary, but I don't plan to go every week.
I think this is another benefit to having the ability for a virtual call-in, so that if somebody cannot attend in person, it's beneficial that people could participate. But typically they will, and this is not something that we're requiring of the member, but usually the OAC will end in a walk of the site to see any particular issues. But there will be a reporting of what's happening, a in-depth look at 2-week look ahead of what is happening in the next 2 weeks. But we will be participating. And then also there will be another face from CHA that will be added to my team. I think I have mentioned this in the past, but a colleague of mine who will be your on-site representative and will be at the library every day. And in the construction trailer. And he is actually wrapping up the Sharon Town Library construction project right now as their on-site representative. He's going to be transferring to this project when we start construction.
Would it confuse things at all if we had two representatives? One from each board? Are we better off having a single representative to this meeting?
I believe
Folks who've
that
done it before can weigh in.
I just think sometimes if you have 10 people in a room, it makes for a longer meeting. Jeff Goodwin's going to be there, Chris is going to be there, and Buffy, if one of you wanted to go, absolutely. But I think a working group that works together all the time, it'll be more cohesive. And we have plenty of expertise, unless it's something you want to do.
Well, we will certainly defer to Chris. Thank you, Chris.
All right, so can I have a motion to appoint Chris as the representative to the weekly construction meeting?
I love to make motions to make Chris work more. I will make that motion.
I'll second that.
Everyone wants to get rid of me.
We want to keep you busy. Keeps you out of trouble.
All right, here's
So
our
we're doing your
vote.
wife a favor, Chris.
I was just gonna say that's a secret that she's learned.
Really.
Okay, here's our voting. Dirks, aye. Fleckner, not here. Roach,
Aye.
Secor,
Aye.
Siegel,
Aye.
Teal,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Hazelton,
Aye.
Karpinski.
Do I need to abstain or can I?
No, you
vote
can
for-
vote for yourself.
You can vote.
I'll be an aye, please.
Patton and Roberts not here. Wimberg,
Aye.
Segowitz,
Aye.
10-0-0.
You owe me, Jimmy.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Sure thing.
All right. Last item is upcoming meeting dates. We are back together.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Point
go
of-
ahead.
Don't we need to appoint an alternate?
No.
Oh, yep.
Well, somebody volunteered to be the alternate.
I'll be the alternate.
Who was
Glenn,
it?
that was cool.
Segowitz.
Okay.
Yeah, I can be the alternate. I just can't be there every week.
Does Chris need to give him his hard hat when he transfers to the backup?
My head's hard enough, I think.
I'll make a motion. We appoint Jim Sigowitz on his birthday, the alternate.
I'll second that.
And our voting goes this way again. Dirks, aye. Fleckner not here. Roach,
Aye.
Secor,
Aye.
Siegel,
Aye.
Teal,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Hazelton,
Aye.
Karpinski,
Aye.
Patton and Roberts not here. Wimberg,
Aye.
Segowitz,
Aye.
10-0-0.
All right. For upcoming meeting dates, we are back here next Monday for a joint meeting at 6:30, and then the library trustees will be meeting after that meeting. The next night, the 8th, we have the select board meeting where they'll be approving the construction contract.
Yes, and as well, the mass, let me see if I got it, the MAAB submittal from Feingold Alexander Architects. So that will be on the agenda as well.
And then the rest of the
Massachusetts
meetings are,
Architectural Access Board, that's it.
and then I think everything after that is sort of at a normal schedule, so. Unless anyone has anything else, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I will second.
Well, you two have been really working too hard tonight.
He's got it down pat.
Dirks, aye. Fleckner not here. Roach,
Aye.
Secor,
Aye.
Siegel,
Aye.
Teal,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Hazelton,
Aye.
Karpinski,
Aye.
Patton and Roberts not here. Wimberg,
Aye.
Segowitz,
Aye.
10-0-0 at 7:33.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks all.
Yeah,
Good
you
night.
too.
Yeah.